Thanks for logging on to myfoxhurricane.com. We continue to watch Tropical Storm Don. It's basically sitting out in the middle of the Atlantic, not bothering anybody. It's embedded in an area where the water temperatures are just warm enough that it is able to sustain itself, but just to the west of it, you do see some of this cooler water that it is seen on that western side. So as you look at this satellite imagery, and you can see that track, how this has just been doing these whole circles across the Atlantic. The thing that you start to notice is you do see some of that convection near the center, but then you see this, all this convection just kind of trailing off towards the east. And we know by seeing this kind of a pattern, there's wind shear involved. In fact, as you look at the satellite and the wind shear combined, you have this wind shear to the north, and then that's what you're seeing is more that westerly wind shear, and that is really disrupting this system from gaining a whole lot of intensity. So it looks like it's going to pretty much hold either status quo, or maybe if it works its way away from this a little bit, it might be able to intensify a little bit more as we go through the coming days. But again, it's not a real big deal because it's sitting out over the middle of the Atlantic. So right now, top winds are at 50 miles an hour. It's moving to the west-northwest right now at 8 miles an hour. So it's going to continue on this track, but then we've been talking about this for days. It will start to turn more towards the north and eventually the northeast. Now, as it works its way up into this area, that's where it will start to work its way into some cooler waters, and it will eventually start to weaken and really probably start to transition into a more of a non-tropical system. So here's where Don is right now. We're also watching another wave that's worked its way off the coast of Africa. In the short term, not going to see anything really happen with this. You're also noticing a lot of dry air across the central Atlantic and also into the western Atlantic, down through the islands, all the way up through the Bahamas, and really some of this working its way over Florida as well. But we're going to watch this wave because computer models are really starting to pick up on this and showing at least some development, or the possibility of some development, as we go through the long term. In fact, here we are on the Fox model. Look out in this area here. We're combining that with some of that dry air. So you see how that dry air continues to work its way away. And there you see that development and then working its way on that westerly direction. Although very small, you're not seeing a whole lot of significant development with this, but this is by the time we get into Tuesday of next week, working its way towards the Caribbean. So we're going to continue to monitor this area, and we'll keep you updated right here on myfoxhurricane.com.